I'm gonna stand up, show you what I'm made of. Don't matter how much blood I bleed, there's a fight in me.
Welcome to the Video Craig podcast. My guest this week is Mad Miller Music. How you doing?
Cool, eh?
Good to see you again, mate.
Good to see you, mate. I've only been here since 12 o'clock. 3 hours lay down, we're sitting here.
Yeah, it's the hottest day of the year apparently today. And Craig slept in, didn't he?
That's all good, where you know, won't we? That's the main thing.
That's all that matters. We met on the internet, didn't we?
Oh, did I?
Do you reckon about 2 years ago now?
Something like that,
Just through your music page, commented on my music page. I checked out your music page, added each other on personal profiles and started chatting and became friends.
Yeah. Totally amazing.
Doesn't feel like 2 years, but it was definitely during the lockdown period, wasn't it?
I love the stuff that you put on. And obviously, me being the loud mouth that I am, I commented on your stuff and you got back to me and it just took from there, really.
Mm-hmm. Let's go through a bit of your life story then. See how much of it we can squeeze into 60 minutes, eh?
Hardly any, mate. Where do you want to start, from the beginning?
The very beginning, yeah. Where are you from? Where did you go to school?
I'm from North Shields.
Right.
I was brought up in a rough neighbourhood where the Meadow Well riots were in 91.
Yeah. I remember the Meadow Well riots from when I was at school.
To me, though, when I was in the Meadow Well, I never feared. There was no sense of fear in the Meadow Well.
Well, yeah, because it was the people from Meadow Well that were feared by other people.
Maybe so.
When you're the villain, you're not going to be the fear.
No, honestly, I felt totally safe in the Meadow Well.
Were you involved in the riots?
No, I was actually a senior manager down in Yorkshire at the time when it happened.
So well out the way of that.
Aye. I was on another level, mate. Anyway, at school, when I went to school, in junior school, I was quiet. I was always getting in trouble, but not. But when I sort of moved into 11 plus, I went to Norham High School.
Right.
And I was absolutely lunatic there. I was fighting. I had a chip shop on my shoulder. Do you know what I mean? And I was always fighting with the teachers. And I particularly remember when I was 14, I had a fight with the maths head of the maths department. Everybody was scared stiff of this teacher, right? Well, I wasn't. I didn't care.
Like a physical fight?
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, what it was is he was arguing the toss and I was arguing back. Mm-hmm. And he grabbed us by the jumper and he started pulling us around. Well, I let him pull the jumper off us. As soon as the jumper come off us, I started laying punches into him. And that was it. I was expelled from that school. And after that, I went to Rathgarden High School.
Right. Rothies.
Yeah, Rothies, aye. And a year later, I got expelled from there from the same thing, fighting with the teachers. So, I was a bit of a lunatic when I was younger. And there you go, and that was that. I
mean, in those days, teachers used to put their hands on you as well, didn't they? I never experienced that, but
back in them days, when you hear about the teacher throwing the chalkboard thing at you?
Yeah.
Well, that did happen many times.
Yeah.
But that was just the way it was, I remember when I was at Norham, it was shortly before I got expelled, I took the whole school out on strike. The whole school. I can't believe I did it.
On strike?
Yeah.
Well, for a pay rise or something?
Well, what it was is, at Norham, there was a massive field.
Right.
And I got every one of the kids in the playground to go right at the top of the field, and all of them went up, everyone. Even the prefects, right? And it was just mental. And then after a while, the teachers come out. And they started walking up towards me. Mm-hmm. And I just started around and I said, "Charge!" And everybody started charging the school teachers. But that was mental. Somebody messaged us not long ago and says, "Can you remember when you threw everybody out on strike?" Legend and all that. But that was mental.
So you got expelled from Rothies, then what happened? Then where did you go? Where did you see the end of school out? Or was that it for you?
Well, I got a letter from the school board saying that no school in the northeast would have us. Mm-hmm. So that was that. I was done with that. And after school, I started working straight away. Yeah. I done all sorts of jobs. I worked in Whitley Bay Cemetery.
Right.
I worked there for a while. I worked all over doing gardening jobs.
What did you do in the cemetery?
It wasn't like digging graves.
Right.
It was like they had back in them day what's called a YTS, a youth training scheme.
Yeah, I remember YTS.
You got about 20 quid a week, right? And it was like gardening, keeping it trimmed and everything nice, you know. And when they used to have their funerals on, we had to go in the like wooden hut out the way. I don't know, I was a fisherman. I went on the fishing boats. That was the hardest job I've ever done in my life.
Right.
Even to this day, that was the hardest job. I'd done that for a while. I done all sorts, but the main thing that I did was I was a baker, qualified baker.
Right.
And I'd done that for many years, you know.
So where did the music come into your life?
Well, what it was is with music. When I was a young kid, 13, 14,
Yep.
the punk scene started hitting.
Yep.
And my mate, Smithy, where I lived at the time was Percy, Maine.
Right.
And he brought punk rock into Percy, Maine, you know, Smithy. And he had all the gear on, the stationary stuff, you know, Matt McLaren stuff.
Yep.
And Vivian Westwood stuff. And that was it. It just sort of escalated from there. And we would listen to Live at the Roxy. It was like a famous album from the punk era. And me and my mates started a band. It was called, we wouldn't call it this day because of how politically correct things are. But back then it was all about shock. And we called it The Final Solution. And that's the name of the band. I was a bass guitarist in that. And I used to practice and practice and practice. And I was really good, you know, really good. And that's where I got the knowledge of how to construct a song or, you know, with a bridge and this and that. And that's where I got that. But back then as well, what I used to do as well, just for a frisk, just for a laugh, in my bedroom, the old-fashioned music recorders.
Right.
What were they called again? I can't remember. Music centre.
Yep.
With a record and had 2 tapes.
Yep.
I used to overlap sounds like me singing, and that was the first time I'd ever, you know how you produce a mix on these 2-track tapes. And that's where it all started when I was like young.
So the punk scene was pretty crazy from what I've seen and whatnot.
Well, that was mental.
Remember once we were telling us there was a magazine, wasn't there, called Sniffing Glue?
Yeah, yes, Sniff and Glue, they called them back then fanzines.
Yeah.
I think it was because they were made by the fans.
Yeah.
Anyway, Sniff and Glue. I actually used to sniff glue at the time, like, big bag and...
I was a little bit too young to be sniffing glue, but I can remember in the 80s seeing like TV adverts telling kids not to sniff glue.
Oh, it was mental.
And you don't hear of it at all now, do you?
No. But back then, I mean...
It was all the rage.
You know, like, the thing is, though, with me, right, I'm like an extremist.
Yep.
Like, a lot of my friends might do it once, might do it twice, but me, I'm on it like a year later and I'm still sniffing glue. You know what I mean? I take things to extremes. I've got, like, an addictive personality. That's the way I am.
So how did they used to do it? Did they used to, it's my understanding, they used to get, like, a bread bag or something and put the glue in the bottom or something?
Just a shopping bag.
Right.
Just say a white shopping bag.
Yep.
You get your Evo stick. Now, I'm not telling anybody to do this because it's not good, you know. And you pour it in there, right? And what you do is when you blow the bag up, you go like that with your finger to move it round, the glue around the bag, and it contains all the fumes in the bag. It's a bit like when I've seen people doing their buckets.
Right.
You know what they do?
Yeah.
And they use a bottle,
Aye.
and they get all of the fumes. Same thing, you know.
And what does it feel like? Because when I've done like decorating and stuff, and I've smelt like because it's solvent abuse basically, isn't it?
Aye.
That kind of stuff normally just feels like it's giving me a headache. It doesn't feel like it's going to feel good.
It's a different.
Don't try this at home.
It's not a good thing. Like I would never advocate it. No way. But when you're young and stupid, you know, which I was only about 14.
Aye.
It's like you're spaced out totally.
Yeah.
I can't explain the type of spaced it is. It's like. You're just spaced. It's like I can't explain it. You're just spaced.
Does it last very long?
Yeah, it lasts for a kind of while, but it wears off after a while, and then you've got to keep doing the bag, you know. But it's not like other drugs where they last for a long time, you know, like magic mushrooms or acid or things like that.
Have you ever had salvia before?
No.
Fucking hell. My mate went with newsagents and lived in Nottinghamshire. He bought some salvia, and I never heard of it. Put it on a bong, and it's the weirdest and highest I've ever been in my life. But it only lasted about a minute and a half.
Oh, really? A bit like Poppers type thing. It hits you hard and then...
Like that, but horrible.
Yeah. Hi. The magic mushrooms.
I've never taken magic mushrooms.
Well, I'll tell you about that thing before. About my dad. How the first time I ever took magic mushrooms, I was 16.
Right.
And I went down to the pub in North Shields where I lived at the time. And I went in to see him.
Right.
And I says, oh, have you got any dope or, ganja? And he says, no, but I've got this. I says, what? He says, magic mushrooms. I says, what are they? Never heard of them. He says, oh, just take all them, right? So I ate them all then. And after a little while, he started saying weird stuff to us, like, oh, you're going to see monsters. And he was laughing his head off, And I was like, his entertainment. I says, yeah, get stuffed, I'm gone. And I went on the big field where I lived.
Aye.
I was there for about 8 hours off my head. It was bizarre, really bizarre. Strange feeling, like. It's very strange.
Enjoy it?
I did, because you know what it is? Check this out. The next 2 years, I went on my psilocybin, period.
Call that chapter in your book, The Magic Mushroom type.
Yeah,
yes.
From 79 to 81. And what I did was, I went home and I painted all my bedroom black. All black. I put a red light in, right?
Aye.
So it would look weird, and I painted loads of white eyes all over the shop.
Christ almighty.
And I used to listen to this album.
Sounds like
right?
you're torturing yourself.
No, it was lush. I used to listen to this one album, right? It was from 1969, and it was called An Electric Storm in Hell, and it was from the group called The White Noise.
Right.
There's 2 White Noises, but this is the one from 69, The White Noise. And I listened to that album over and over again.
What was it called? What in hell?
The White Noise.
Yeah, what was the album called?
The album was called An Electric Storm.
An Electric Storm.
I've actually, some of my tracks, I've taken the title from them and I put them in my tracks.
Yeah.
Like there's one track called Here Come the Fleas. I've named An Electric Storm is one track I've called.
Here Come the Fleas.
Here Come the Fleas, aye. It's bizarre, it's weird. But I used to listen to that in my bedroom, magic mushrooms, red light, all these eyes.
So what did you play in the punk band? Was it bass?
Bass guitar, yeah. I was really good. Really good. I practice.
So is there anywhere online we can hear any music from The Final Solution?
Oh, I doubt it, like.
Have you got any yourself?
No. We used to just do gigs around the streets and that, And it was lush. I loved it. But, it's just like with me, I need a focus. Probably like yourself. And I had this bass guitar and I wanted to be the best.
Right.
The best I could be. And even things like that were hard, that I considered hard. Like, there's a song called Start by The Jam.
Right.
Bum, ba-dum, bum, bum. I could play that off perfectly. You know what I mean? And I'll take you on to another story. I've told you this before. When I went with my mate Smitty, the one that brought Punk, the person in, I went to see one of his mates up in Crampton. And this guy was taught by Sting how to play the guitar. Yep. And when I went up, this guy was absolutely fantastic, amazing, unbelievable. And I was jamming with them, right? And it was only till that moment that I realised how good I was because I was playing with somebody who was out of this world. And I loved it.
So, what stage did the bodybuilding come into your life? How old were you then?
Right, the bodybuilding. I've always wanted to be a bodybuilder. Not a bodybuilder, I'll rephrase that.
You've always wanted to be massive?
No. It was, I wanted to be a competitive bodybuilder.
Right.
There's a big difference in the two, right? People just like...
So what are the differences?
Right, the difference is, when you're a bodybuilder, and I've got nothing against bodybuilders, if you want to do that, that's fine. But the real athlete is the competitive bodybuilder.
Right.
Because in my mind, anybody can lift weights, shove food in their mouth and be massive, right?
Right.
But to diet down, to get yourself into such a lean state, it takes a lot of dedication.
What percent body fat are you talking?
You're talking somewhere in the region of 5%.
Jesus.
5%, 6%, somewhere around there. I know some get even leaner than that. But like you see a lot of bodybuilding nowadays, you'll see a lot of lads who do bodybuilding. Like I say, I've got nothing against it, but they'll take steroids and then they've got no intentions of going in a competition.
Yeah.
To me, that is mental. But that's their choice. You know who I'm at to say. If I wasn't entering a competition, I would not take steroids at all. There's no point. But like I say, the competitive bodybuilder, they're a breed apart. They are the true athletes. because it takes so much dedication. When you're on a calorie deficient diet and you haven't got no energy and you're still going to the gym, you're still doing all the things you got. And most of these people have got normal jobs and they're doing all of that. And they've got to look at how they pose and how they do this and every angle of the body. And they've got to get it's massive, massive dedication on their behalf. I mean, you've seen what I look like. I look pretty good.
I'll put some photos on screen of that while we're talking about it.
Yeah.
So how old were you then when you started?
Right. I looked at my diary and I looked at the very first day that I ever started bodybuilding.
Right.
And it was the 21st of January, 1983. And as I've said, everybody was laughing at us because I was skinny. I was 10.5 stone.
Christ.
You know, and they were all laughing. And I was dedicated and I stuck it out and I trained. And I surrounded myself with the best people. All my friends were the best. Ex-wife, Miss Universe. My closest friend, Junior Mr. Universe. You know, my training partner was the best in the area. And when I say area, I mean all the way down to Yorkshire, all the way up to Scotland. He won his class and the overall class, I think it was 3 or 4 years in a row, right? And he is right now, an IFBB professional bodybuilder now.
So from starting to, you know, from very first getting into it, how long between then and when you started competing?
Right, so it was January 83 I started.
Right.
And I'd done my first competition in 1988, I think.
Right.
Because Andy Hornby, my close friend, he come down with us to my first show and helped us backstage get ready. And you got to remember, this guy was Junior Mr. Universe by then. So I felt like on top of the world. He's helping me, you know. But it was all a learning curve, you know.
So how long did you compete for once you started?
I done my last competition in 97.
Right.
And the reason I stopped was...
So you're talking a good 15 year or so there then?
Altogether?
Yeah.
Yeah. But not competing.
Yeah.
From 88 to 97. That's 9 years.
9 years competing, but still 5 years before that were you?
Yeah. But the reason I stopped bodybuilding altogether was, at that time in 97, a lot of the bodybuilders started taking insulin.
Right.
And I thought, I've taken everything else. I'm not going to take insulin.
So what's the benefit of taking insulin for bodybuilding? Because it's used by diabetics normally, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So what difference what does it do to bodybuilders?
To be honest, I don't really know everything about it.
Right.
But I just heard that it's supposed to assist in the anabolic process. I don't know if that's true or not. But like I heard some of my friends who was Junior Mr. Britain.
Yep.
He had a bad time on it, you know, by overexerting himself. And he had to be rushed into hospital. And I thought, no way, am I going to do that with myself? Like, that's it, enough's enough, you know. And I wasn't even in the standard of these people, you know what I mean?
So when you stopped competing, and did you stop going to the gym completely, and did all your size go, or were you still training? What?
No, that's it. I'm all or nothing. Like I say, I didn't train to be a bodybuilder.
Right.
I wanted to be a competitive bodybuilder.
Yeah.
And when I done with that, that's it. I move on to something else, you know. I didn't train. What happened was I just shrank. Like, people got this wrong opinion. They think that when you stop training, you go fat. Well, you don't. It all depends on how many calories you're taking in.
Yeah.
If you don't eat loads of calories, you'll just shrink. Your muscles will shrink, you know.
So what was after bodybuilding for you?
Right. Let's have a look. I think around about that time I started doing the family tree.
Right.
And I did that for 10 years.
10 years.
10 years. Oh, it's an obsession. it's like a massive jigsaw puzzle. I know more about my family than anybody because like I've done that much research. I've got 1,400 names, but that wasn't the thing. It was the stories about the individuals, this, that. Finding out I've got gypsy travellers in my family tree. It was amazing, you know. There's murderers in my family tree. Do you know what I mean? Obviously.
Obviously.
But I've done that for 10 years. But what I will do is I want us to do one project on its own. I do other things. Like when I started my music, that was in 2007. Around about the same time, I started doing YouTube videos in 2007. But I wasn't doing YouTube videos for me music, I was doing videos about bipolar disorder, which I've got. And so I was doing videos about that. I was making me music, just learning about it. And I've done me music for 2007 until now. I've done YouTube videos in 2007 until now. But obviously I'm all over the place, but I was diagnosed with bipolar in 2001.
So how far back did you go?
You see, that's not... People always say that to us. With certain branches of the family, you see, you've got to understand when you start with the family, you've got 4 names there, like 4 different names, because of the parents, and the parents. So mine was Miller, Johnson, Headley, Wright. And then they branch out more and more and more. So, like on the Miller side, I went back to 1740 from Cumbria.
Right.
From the Headley side, I went to Newcastle, 1863. But the Johnsons, they went way back into the 1500s.
Right.
So it's all... But the interesting part for me was the stories, like the murderers out of the Millers in 1900. The two family members who were murderers and they were hung in 1901. And things like that, that's more interesting.
I can imagine it is. See, I'm adopted, so I don't know anything at all about my biological family tree. So
I'm sure there'll be a way of finding out if you want
that would be interesting one day for us to have a look at that.
Well, I'm sure, if I look into it, I might be able to help you.
So you started doing music, when did you say, 2007?
Yeah.
So what did you start doing music on?
Like I say, I always wanted to do it, and I tried loads of different softwares. And the one that I liked the most was FL Studio, or it used to be called Fruity Loops. And I liked the fact that you could make the sounds yourself, and the dots, like these dots, and it would, And I started, I think I had a look the other day, it was number 7,
right?
The software. And I just recently purchased the latest one, which is 20.
Right.
The reason I got that was because you got lifetime updates and all that. But in the beginning, I'm like the type of person, I want as many, the VSTs and the plugins. I want to get as many as I can. Like I'm obsessive. You know the YouTube library, the sound library.
Yeah.
I downloaded the whole thing. I've got 9 terabytes of external drive.
Jesus.
And I downloaded the whole lot.
Where's your music online for people to check out?
Well, if you kindly put a link in the description below.
I will do.
Just if they go to my YouTube channel, my music channel, and there's also a link on there to my SoundCloud.
Right.
That's it, so you haven't got millions of links. And also, if you can, put a link in for me physics documentary that I made.
Yep.
I don't want to bore people with the physics now, because I don't think your demographic would be interested in physics. But if you are, check out my physics documentary. The link is in the description below.
Yep, we'll do that.
I want to talk about, because you haven't mentioned it, me mental illness.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, so the bipolar diagnosis, when was that?
In 2001.
2001.
Yeah.
So how old would you have been then?
I think it was late. I think it was, I was 38.
38.
Which is late.
Yeah.
Because normally you get diagnosis when you're
I was
really
diagnosed with ADHD at 35, so...
That's late as well.
Really late.
So anyway, I was having a manic episode, right?
Right.
Which lasted a long time.
Define a manic episode?
Mental. Just think you've had about 10 lines of coke.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? You're manic. Everything's crazy, upside down. Put it this way, right? When I was going through the manic episode, right, I couldn't stop thinking. I was overthinking, racing thoughts, like, freaking us out. My head was boiling. I mean, really boiling. And I was panicking that much that I thought my brain was going to fry. And I was getting cold, wet towels and wrapping them around my head because I was panicking. That's how bizarre it was.
Wow.
Right? That's how bizarre. This lasted 3 months solid.
So was that the first time that you had a manic attack?
A proper full-blown manic attack, yeah. I've always been hyper, but that's down to something else, as you'll find out. So, what happened was, it's fucking mental. It was mental, right? Me then girlfriend, right, who I was living with, She must have thought I was a lunatic, right? It was all sorts happened. I don't want to bore you with all the detail. Right. But I'll give you sort of, for instance, I thought I was going to be taken back to ancient Egypt, right?
Right.
Seriously. I really thought it was going to happen. I was petrified. I got my girlfriend, I says, I want to go to the hospital in Newcastle. I wouldn't go to the one at there, Tynemouth, more seriously. Because I thought we were going to take us there as well. So I went to Newcastle, right? We went in the police station near Newcastle. I walked in, I was freaking out. And you know, a written word on the wall, I could see right inside it. There was a depth to it, right? I could see right inside. Now, I was showing the copper, look. And they called the ambulance for us, right? They take us to the hospital. And they took us in, and I was talking my way out because I started to calm down. But then they give us a sleeping tablet because I hadn't been to sleep for like 5 days.
Right.
I've been awake for non-stop.
Yeah, sleep deprivation's a funny old one, isn't it?
And next day they come to see us, and I was screaming and shouting at my girlfriend for no reason, none whatsoever. She was a lovely lass, you know what I mean? Oh, did I mention when I was going up to the hospital that I tied 2 belts round her? I says, if I'm going to ancient Egypt, you're coming with us. How mental is that? Right? So anyway, the next day, cut long story short, one shields together, and I was shouting at her. She knocked off into her shopping head. And I thought she went through a time warp.
Right.
I really did, honestly, I believed it.
Sounds like you had some good shit that day.
It wasn't good, mate, it was horrible. And I went to my ma's, and my ma and my girlfriend were conspiring to get the doctors in.
Right.
They got the doctors in, they says, right, your classic signs, bipolar disorder. So they took us in to a psychiatric ward, and I was sectioned for 6 weeks. And it was a nightmare. And they said I had psychosis, bipolar disorder type 1, which is the most extreme. But as I've talked to you about me recent, last year I was sectioned. I had a different type of episode. I had a mixed state episode where you're manic and you're depressed at the same time, which is a bizarre mixture. And I took an overdose, actually took the overdose. Right. Not like me, like I'm a proper chicken, you know. And I was sectioned, put in Morpeth, St. George's. Yeah. And I was kept there for about the same time, 6 weeks.
So what's it like being in a place like that? Are you isolated by yourself? Are you in with other patients? Like,
no.
I can imagine it's a bizarre experience.
In the psychiatric ward, the first one,
yeah,
everybody was in like dormitories together.
Right.
But in Morpeth, you're all isolated in your own room. But
right.
you mix with people in the communal parts, like when you go for tab and shit. But Morpeth is a bit. You've seen one for the cuckoo's nest. And
so, am I right in thinking that you're not allowed to leave? You couldn't just try and walk out?
Nah. You're locked in, man. It's like a prison. You can't walk. All the doors are locked. The lock and key.
It's crazy.
You can't get out. And you know what is the worst part about it? When I was close to getting out, right? They could say I was like getting my shit together. And this nurse was amazing. All the staff were absolutely out this world. But there's one doctor, I hadn't even seen it. And they were saying, nah, you're not getting out. And I was freaking out, losing my temper and everything, you know. But crazy. I just want to touch about something else as well, which I haven't mentioned.
Yeah.
In my recent visit to my psychiatrist, because when you get sectioned, you're there for life, that own you sort of thing.
Yeah.
And
in terms of like ongoing treatment.
Yeah, all the time, yeah. Well, they regulate your meds, because I've taken a lot of like medication for bipolar and that. But I just recently got diagnosed with ADHD.
Yeah.
Same as your shit.
Same as me.
And this explains to me why I'm all over the shop, why I'm so hyper, why I'm so like I cannot watch. When I'm watching the telly, it's a nightmare, because if I'm not into it in 2 seconds, it's turnover. You know, it explains everything.
Yeah.
So it's bizarre at 59 getting a diagnosis of ADHD, but it's been there all the time, all my life, really. You know, it's bizarre.
So what made you, did you go for the diagnosis of ADHD, or did they just pick up on it through assessing?
No, what it is, right? I mean, obviously, I'm on my best behaviour, yeah. But when I'm in a room with somebody and I'm having a disagreement, I'm, very animated. Right. Very animated, very forthright. And he was saying to me, you're mental. He says, I remember my last psychiatrist, right, says, it was a woman. She says, you know, if people didn't know who you are, they would think you were really, really ill because you're so explosive, so, you know, mental. So, and what she says when she left the room, I thought this was funny as hell. She went, goodbye. Thank you for shouting at me. Because she was kidding, you know. She was kidding, like, well, I didn't. I think she was kidding. It was so funny. Thank you for shouting at me.
So have you always been very loud then, have you?
Aye, always. Always. But that's just the way I am, you know. I have my moments where I can be quiet. Not many, like, but...
When you're asleep.
No, I'm very extrovert, very out there, always have been. And, but I have a sensitive side as well, you know. And I'm a very caring, loving person.
Yeah. So, one thing that we've got in common is we've both been on speed for quite a lot of time.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk me through your experience with speed? When's the first time you took it?
Yeah.
Obviously, I know, you know, firsthand that you're an all or nothing type of person. So,
I totally.
So tell me all about that.
Like I've had drugs all my life, but it's been like on and off sort of thing. First time I had speed, I think I was 16. I remember going to the hospital with my mum to see my granddad. And I dropped some dustpan, right? These are like cold shorties that were back in the day.
What's a dustpan?
It's like a slimming tablet, but back in the day they were legal.
Right.
And my mum used to take one, but I took 4. I was off me trolley, right? But anyway, so I've taken drugs on and off all the time. But around about 97, I started taking this thing called GHB. It's a bodybuilding drug.
I've taken it before at a party and once, but never again.
They call it liquid ecstasy or something like that. But what its purpose is for bodybuilders, it's got skull and crossbones on the white tub. Do not drink with this; it can kill. Right? That's how bad it is. So when a bodybuilder takes it, it's to knock them out. I started doing that, but then I thought, I want to take it when you stay awake, and I started staying awake, and I thought, this is good. I like this, and it was like speed, it was like drink, it was like it was like everything. So I liked it. And I started taking it at work. So I was taking it every day for like 7...
What was your job then?
I was a bakery manager. I was a bakery manager.
You were baked.
I was baked, caked and everything else. So I took that, right, for 7 months solid.
Right.
I mean, then girlfriend says, I'm not going to marry you if you keep taking it. Because when you're on GHB, it can mong you. Like you know when you take heroin?
Right.
Where you're gouging and,
out.
Right, it can do that to you. And she didn't like it. And what it was is, she says, if you don't come off it, I won't marry you. So in the beginning of 98, I thought, nah, I'll switch to speed. So I switched to speed, right?
So had you tried speed before that?
Yeah, I have speed, right? So I started taking speed every day. And I got married in January 98. And I stopped taking the speed in 2018. That's when I come off. I'm clean.
Right.
Obviously, you know, I've stopped drinking as well. I don't drink now.
Yeah.
I'm still smoking, but I did stop for 8 months. But I'm going to try and knock that as well. Like, but I was on that for about 20 years, every single day of my life, and sometimes I was taking it 4 times a day. You know.
How often did you sleep back then? So I used to sleep twice a week, me. I used to sleep a Wednesday and a Sunday.
You know what's bizarre though? It's like, we spoke about this. It's like, I didn't know, but after seeing the psychiatrist and he talked about the ADHD, I tell him that, to me, when I took speed, I was calm and relaxed and not like other people are with a hyper and jumping up and around like a lunatic. And he says, that's a classic sign of ADHD. It helps you to control, to focus on stuff. I says, that's... Like all the music I made, I was on speed and I could focus on stuff. But to me, I never lost weight. Like some people go like dead skinny.
Oh, I did when I first started on it. I went from like, I think 15.5 stone down to 10.5.
When you first start taking it, but after a while it becomes sort of like normal. You know what I mean? But it's like I've expressed, like, just think if you had your favourite meal.
Yeah.
Now have it every day. It's not your favourite meal, is it?
Yeah.
No. And I wanted to get off it, but I convinced myself that I couldn't do a normal job or do a normal day without it because I'd have no energy. Well, that's a load of rubbish.
Yeah, I mean, when I came off it, it took... The first time I came off it, I'd been on it for 6 years solid. And it took us maybe 2 weeks to get over it. Where, you know, like... Luckily for me, I've always been self-employed and stuff, so I didn't have to get up and go to work. So, you know, if I wanted to be awake for an hour, have something to eat, and then go back to sleep for 10 hours, I could. Luckily, I had that luxury, and even living like that, like I think, like, but after about a week, I could maybe stay awake for 4 hours, and then after 2 weeks, I could stay awake for a whole day, and you know, so, but then thinking about it, I suppose sleep is somewhat like, you know, like a bank account. Like if you can go overdrawn, but at some point you've got to put it back in.
Well, you do. It's like you're filling the glass, aren't you? It's like, for me, one of the most important things is sleep. That's why, I mean, I took Zopiclone for 11 years and they took us off it.
What's that? I've heard of it.
Zopiclone is like a sleeping tablet. They said it was addictive. I says, you're joking, aren't you?
They're called Zoppies or something, aren't they? Didn't they?
I says, I've been taking it 11, 12 years and you're stopping us. Now I'm on the best thing ever. Trazodone.
I've never even heard of that.
I'm on 200 milligrams a night.
Right.
I remember me ex-girl, and I'll take a drink a minute. When I was living with her, I was on 150s. I couldn't even walk, you know, to go to bed.
Yeah.
And now I'm on 200s. So like, oh, it's the best. You're out.
I've never ever taken sleeping tablets before.
I have to. I've got insomnia. And you know what it is? My lass I'm with now, when I tell her I have insomnia, she says, you're joking, you can't sleep all the time. But you know what it is, the last couple of nights, I haven't had my sleeping tablets. I've been awake all night. You know? You think, because you're on your sleeping tablets, you're okay. As soon as you haven't got them, you're not, you're awake all night. It's a nightmare.
Well, I suppose you become reliant on them to sleep.
Totally, 100%. Is that you mirroring me?
So one thing I'd like to know about you, because we never really have these conversations. Do you watch much TV or movies or out like that?
Not me.
Not got the attention span for it.
Nah.
See,
I tell you what I do. I'm a YouTuber. I watch YouTube.
Yep.
People like you put small bits of content out. Other people, you know. And I tell you what I love. I'm probably boring, yeah. Like
no, go.
I love American politics.
You love what? Sorry.
American politics.
Oh, American politics.
Because they're so polarized. You know what I mean? It's like black and white. They're like the left and the right hate each other, and it's like, to me, it's very amusing.
So because I know you can watch, I'm not that much into politics, right? But I know in England, like, you can watch the Houses of Parliament. Is there an American version of that?
I get my news, which is biased, from Fox.
Oh, right.
which is biased, you know. It's like right wings. So not that I'm a right winger, I know, like just I think the left are mental. You know what I mean? But really, the corruption, it's everywhere, left and right. The corruption now in American politics is just ridiculous. They're all full of crap.
It's all money, isn't it?
Aye, all of it. All of it. They're all. I don't know how they can get away with it, and they do. Everybody knows. You know, everybody knows.
Getting back to the TV stuff, right? The way I am is very much every now and then I'll somehow watch an episode of something.
Yeah.
And then but the reason I don't try and look at TV much these days is because I'm scared. Because if I like something, I'll sit and watch every single episode and not do anything else in between.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like I watched
binge watching.
I watched Sex and the City once, right? Right, at which I know people probably wouldn't believe that, but I was like, oh, I quite like this. So I watched every single episode of it in both movies in 6 days, and I think there's 7 seasons of it or something.
Oh my God, that's mental. That, like, I'm a bit like that, like.
But I didn't get any work done. I fuck all.
Yeah.
And it's like people are like, oh, what you been up to? And I've heard from you in a few days. It's like, oh, I was watching every episode of Sex and the City, and they laughed. I think it's a joke.
Yeah. I like documentaries more than anything. And I love physics. And now that sounds mental because I sound like a proper idiot. But I'm banging into physics.
I would say physics is quite an intelligent subject, not a subject for idiots. I'm an idiot. I don't get physics at all.
That,
no.
About how I got into physics. And,
yeah.
And I've said before, I've got an IQ of 130. Not that people would believe it.
Now, I'm going to be honest here. and I know people talking about, oh, my IQ's this, his IQ's that. What's an average IQ score? 100.
Yeah.
Right.
And I had mine done at a psychologist.
Right.
Done it. I was there for like 3-4 hours getting tested, this
Yep.
and the other. So, you know, it's right, 130. You wouldn't think it now, talking of us. But if you see me documentary, my physics documentary,
Yep.
it's evident there that I'm intelligent, you know what I mean? But,
Well,
yeah.
I watched it and I didn't have a clue. I had to keep pausing it and Googling words. I really did.
You know the words on the script?
Yeah.
I've done everything myself.
Yeah.
Everything. Anyway, so...
The link is in the description, by the way.
Hi, and what happened was an idea came to us, and I was actually mental at the time.
Right.
And I was having the psychotic episode, and I was in the worst state, and I could see that the room was skew, everything was altered. And in an instant, an idea came to us. In an instant, in a nanosecond, this physics idea in its totality, the idea in its totality came to us. And I suddenly realized everything. Now, I could see this generic pattern in everything, right? But I couldn't physically see it. I wasn't like seeing shapes or anything like that, but I was aware of this structure, and I could see it in everything, right? So that started me on a journey, a 20-year journey.
Right.
I didn't have to look for the answers because I already had the answer. What I was looking for was this structure in things, in science, and it was there. Anyway, which I listed in the documentary. I know people might think, oh, he's talking rubbish. Fine. This is just my hypothesis. Try and say that when you're drunk. So I spent 20 years doing it. I've done a 15-page document of my hypothesis. I put it on a Nikola Tesla site with 170 members just to get a feel. And don't forget, I've been ridiculed right from day one up to that point. When I posted it on there, I don't know if I've shown you some of the comments. They said I was genius, blah, 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 blah. I'm not a genius, but I think I've come up with an idea that I feel is original. It might not be the real thing, but it's mine, you know. So if you go and check it out on the link in the description below, you can make your own mind.
On one of your YouTube channels, you've got a video that had a lot of views. Was it Celebrities with Bipolar?
Yeah.
How did you do the research for that? Because there's a lot of those celebrities I was familiar with, and I had no idea that a lot of them had bipolar.
Well, I was lazy, right?
Right.
I was lazy.
Did you Google a list?
No. I went on Wikipedia, and if you see, at the very beginning of the video, it says source of materials, Wikipedia.
Right.
It actually tells you where it's from. Obviously, since that was made a long time. That was made 14 years ago.
Was it that long ago?
Well, actually, what it was is, you know when I first got sectioned?
Yeah.
When I first got sectioned, my psychiatrist says to me, have you seen Beautiful Mind? I says, no. He says, that's you.
What's Beautiful Mind?
It's a movie.
Is it?
And where you can see things and everything. Like
I'll have to have a
it's
look
really
at
good. It's a good movie. It's a true story.
Right.
But he says, I've missed my point I was trying to make. Must have been a lie. What was it again? Oh, I can't remember.
When you were first diagnosed with bipolar, you were talking about, and the list of Wikipedia.
Oh, he also says, he gives a link to a video where it says famous people with bipolar. And he says, this may help you for your self-esteem. Which he did, because I thought, well, if these famous people have got it, you know, who am I? And that's where I got the idea to make these videos.
Right.
That's where I got the ideas to make these videos, you know, from what he said to me. It influeed us.
I mean, I know Kanye West's got bipolar, so that's good enough for me.
And Brian Miller.
Aye.
MADMILLER.
Anything else you want to talk about?
Not just if you check out the links in the description below. And obviously, I push myself as a MADMILLER music producer, but me channels, me social media, all the social media is named as MADMILLER Music.
Right.
And that's it.
Okay, well, we'll put all the links in the description. We should definitely sit down and do this again sometime soon.
Aye, on time.
Good night, everyone. Okay, so welcome to the Video Creek podcast.
Mad Miller, back again.
Mad Miller Music, aka Brian Miller, back again. How you doing, mate?
Great, mate.
Great to have you back. So welcome to our new studio here in the beautiful Timemouth.
Lush.
Right, so
Can it move in here like it's mental?
so this is yeah, we've got no room basically. If I was to extend both my feet, everything would be on the floor. There's a shoebox keeping the multi-plug from falling off the desk, which has ripped all the cameras on the floor twice. We're doing well.
You know, yeah.
Proper professionalism. It's
Total.
just like Joe Rogan.
Not.
So, don't really need to introduce you because if you haven't already seen episode number 1, there is an episode number 1 with Mad Miller. Check it out. And I would recommend you watch that one first. But, so we're going to pick up basically where we left off and just go through some more stories.
Aye.
I'm going to do my best to not let my ADHD get the better of us. And
Me too.
on the last one, you would get 2 sentences into a story and I'd be like, oh, that reminds us of the time when... And then I'd talk halfway through my story and then you do the same. And then there's
We're all over the shop, won't we?
there's a 10-minute clip where neither of us finish a story.
This is what you get with ADHD.
So then, you sent me some bullet points of some things that we could talk about, and I picked the ones that I think the viewers would find the most interesting, and also the stories I don't already know, because we are friends, so we talk off camera, obviously more than we talk on camera.
Yeah.
Your dad was murdered.
Yeah, that's right. My dad, he was just like me, really proper Raj. In 2009, he was stabbed at Meadow Well metro station.
Right.
It was on all the news and ITV and all the papers and everything. And, I was totally gutted. And my father was a massive character in No Shields.
Right.
And if you would ask anybody who knew him, the one thing they would say is his laugh. He had this mad laugh, and it was get loud. Now you know where I get it from.
So, the circumstances surrounding the murder in 2009, I was down south, so I wouldn't have heard it. I was living in Nottingham back then, so I wouldn't have heard anything about it. What happened? Was it people he knew? Was it just by chance?
When I tell people my dad was murdered at Meadow Well metro station, he didn't actually die at Meadow Well metro station.
Right.
He was stabbed by this creep. I've seen the photo of him. I could kill him with one hand. You know what I mean? Is that? Don't get me started on that one. But he got stabbed, and the guy went running down the street, and he got this other bloke, and he stabbed him, but he survived. So anyway, 2 days later...
So did your dad know this guy, or was he just
yes, him for it. I spoke to my dad, me and my brother, and asked him for a cigarette.
Right.
He says, I'm Geordie. And my father was 65, you know what I mean? And this young snot rag was just a kid. And anyway, so I went to hospital with my brother. And when we went, I've never seen my father upset because I was laughing. Yeah. Because I was on there. Ganja, like, you know. You like that, like. But anyway,
it was Meadow Well.
We actually was living in Howden at the time. He was just visiting me half brother, and in the Meadow Well. And at the hospital when I went to see him, like 2 days after the stabbing, and I couldn't believe it, like, because me and my brother had turned up. Yeah. He started like to get upset and cry and that, and I've never seen that, you know what I mean? Because he was a hard case when he was younger, like fighter, a street fighter, you know, and it was because me and him were there to see him. Yeah. And 2 days later, I got a message through my door from his ex, Carol. Carol was amazing, like, and she says, you need to phone the hospital. So I phoned the hospital, and I says, I'm phoning about my dad, Brian Miller. She says, who's calling? I says, Brian Miller. And that was weird for me, like, totally weird. And she told us over the phone that sadly he passed away and blah, blah, blah. So it was unbelievable.
That's tragic.
It was horrible because he's such a funny bloke, you know what I mean? And Carol, his ex, she put their funeral on and everything. If it wasn't for her, I don't know what would have happened. So, You know,
Out
she was
of
amazing.
interest, what happened to the other guy that was stabbed that night?
He was all right. He survived. Everything was all right. But this little snot rag, right? He got sentenced to life.
Right.
Which I think he got 17 years. He's due out in about 4 years' time or something. And people say that when they ask us, oh, well, at least he got life. Well, that is nothing to me. That is no consolation to me or the family. You know what I mean? What's consolation to me is me beating the living daylights out of him. That would be consolation, like.
Yeah, and then some.
Yeah, because I see it all the time on the telly, you know, when they say, oh, they got life, oh, that, at least they got justice. That's not justice.
I mean, it reminds us of when I was a young'un, when I was like 16, a guy who was a year older than me stabbed a 14-year-old kid
Mental.
in the burn and killed him in Wallsend.
Wow.
And he didn't get done for murder, he got done for manslaughter. He stabbed the kid in the heart. How can you stab somebody in the heart and say, I didn't mean to kill them? Right? And
I'm no idea.
he served 7 years.
Well, that's
And
mental.
then he got out. And I mean, the guy's obviously fucking tapped. He got out for a few months. They gave him a new identity, moved him to another city. The first thing he got with his new identity was a doorman's badge. So he's befriended some doorman and apparently stabbed this doorman that he was friends with 17 times with a samurai sword. Didn't kill him. Somehow, miraculously, this doorman survived.
Mental.
And now he's doing life for attempted murder.
It's all
And
messed
he's
up.
already killed somebody.
I seen the program last night on the very same thing, and it was 2 school kids, I think.
Yeah.
One was a posh one, he had the top lawyer and everything, and this other one was I'm forgetting his name anyway, and he got off. He got off. Unbelievable. He even admitted doing it. It's mental. The whole thing's mental. I hope I never bump into this kid, like, because I know what he looks like. He's probably bigger now, like, but I just hope I never bump into him, because knowing the way I am, like,
Yeah, it's
you know
not,
what I mean?
not going to end well for him, is it?
Yeah.
But it's also not worth you throwing your life away.
Well, I know, but you know what
I
it's like when you're in a bad mood and it's something.
Because once you get to our ages, you know, like if you get 17 years,
Speak for yourself.
if you get 17 years at our ages, you're not getting out any time. Well,
No.
you know what I
I
mean?
know what you're saying, but you know what it is? Emotions are a very
Yeah.
powerful thing.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And it's just mental. It's just unbelievable. The thing about death, it's so final.
Yeah.
It's like you don't even get to say goodbye. You know, it's horrendous, really. I know death comes to all, and it's one of them things that you have to get used to. But it's still heartbreaking, you know what I mean? My father was funny as out, like, for a character.
Rest in peace, sir.
Aye, totally, aye.
So, next on my list, I've just got a little star in Durham Prison written next to it.
Right, aye. Right, I
So
want to
first
say
of all-
first, right? I have not been in trouble with the law since the year 2000.
Not being caught or not being in trouble?
No, I've been a good citizen, right? So, because obviously in 2001, I got sectioned, medicated, and all the rest of it.
Right.
And that changed my life. It saved my life, because before that, I was proper violent, really violent. And as I told you before this, you know, I've broken people's legs with pickaxe handles. I've changed people's faces with a chain. Not that I'm proud of it, because I'm not. But this is the sort of character I was. I didn't care.
Yeah.
If I'm going to hurt you, I want to hurt you as hard as I can.
Yeah.
But not now, because I'm, you know, I love a guy like it.
When I used to be violent when I was younger, I was very much the same mindset. I was like, I didn't care who was the best boxer, because it's probably not going to be me. So if I was going to have a fight with somebody, I was going to hurt them by any means necessary.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I was like that. Well, I've been like that all my life. All my life. And up until that point where I got medicated and changed my life. So, anyway, what happened was I had to go to Durham Prison. I've only been inside twice.
Right.
When I was 17, I went to MADMILLER'S Detention Centre, which we'll probably talk about.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a bit.
later. And I went to Durham Prison in the year 2000, right?
Right.
Other than that, I don't class myself as a criminal at all, although the acts that I did were criminal. You know, I wasn't a burglar, and all like that. So anyway,
The crimes weren't for financial gain.
not violence, that's it. All my crimes were for violence. I actually went in there.
So you're just Raj, basically, not a criminal.
Well, I
you're just Raj.
was. I was Raj.
He was Raj. He was Raj.
I went in for threats to kill, witness intimidation, and it was connected to that pickaxe handle
Right.
thing, right? Anyway, So I'm in Durham prison. I had about 4 different fights when I was in Durham prison.
Right.
I was only in there 6 weeks, you know what I mean?
I did the same. I did 6 weeks in Durham. What year? What year were you there?
2000.
2000. I was there 2003, so not long
right.
after you.
Right.
We're jail buddies.
I'm a good boy now. I don't do it like that. But anyway, when I was in Durham prison, right, I was working in the kitchens, and that's the best job in there. You get all the perks. You don't have your door shut. You can go and use the shower anytime you want. You can use the phone anytime you want.
You've got more food than everybody else.
But one of the downsides is, you know, the nonces, they have their own section.
Right.
But the kitchen lads is beyond that.
Right.
So they were on the first floor.
Right.
It's like got 3 different things. They were on the first one, and so were we. We were beyond them.
Right.
So we're past them. Anyway, the very first door on the landing, somebody says to us, "Oh, there's a lad there who murdered his baby, and he's from where you're from."
Right.
So me, being nosy, like, I looked in his cell window.
Yeah.
And this little creep, right, he must have thought he was hard because he killed a baby, you know what I mean? And he come up to the window like that, and I just stared at him like that, and I thought, you know, I think he could see in my eyes what I was going to do to him. And anyway, a couple of days passed, and one of the people who was in with him, I think he was a rapist, he says, "Oh, will you not?" I says, "Tell him I'm going to kill him." I says, "I tell you what, if I come charging through that door and you 2 rapists even attempt to come near me, you're dead." Right, anyway, so I left it at that. And don't forget, I'm on the kitchens, I'm serving them meals, right? And they're coming down, and I was just staring, never said no, just stared at them, right? Anyway, one day I was going up to my cell, right?
Right.
And he's at the top of the stairs, remember? And I can see him standing outside his cell, right? So I thought,
hello, mate.
This is it. This is my moment. And when I got to him, right, he had his sort of like back to us. I kicked the living shit out of him. Honestly, I kicked the living shit out of him. I wouldn't stop punching him and kicking him and everything, you know. He went screaming downstairs to the air screws. "I want him sacked. I want him sacked." Right? That was said. Day after, right, I thought, I'm going to get a sack for this, like. And they called us down to the screws office, which was on the bottom floor. Anyway, so I went in, right, and it was the most bizarre thing that ever happened to us, right, in prison anyway. I walks in the room, right, and the officer takes us in to his desk.
Yeah.
And I looks behind us, and there's about 5 or 7 screws standing there in a line looking at us. And the screw went, "This is Brian Miller, the lad who beat MacDonald up." Well, MacDonald was the baby killer.
Yeah.
I think it was called Trevor MacDonald. And anyway, so, and they all started clapping. How bizarre is that?
Well, it's not that bizarre, really, when you think about it, because let's be honest, right? Nobody's looking at that guy thinking he doesn't deserve a hiding.
And that bit was freaky. It freaked us out. Seeing them all like clapping. Never said no. They were just all clapping. Fuck me.
Because for all the screws and that they can be bastards, they're still humans at the end of the day, you know what I mean? Who'll have kids and whatnot, and it's... I get it, you know what I mean?
I get it. But I didn't expect it. So that... he was called Trevor MacDonald, and he was from our area.
Yeah.
I think he only I had a look online not long ago, and I'm sure you only got 5 years or something. He killed his baby on Manners metro station.
Right. I don't remember that, but
obviously it was around the 2000.
Fucking hell.
I think he got sentenced in 2005 or something. I might be wrong. But that was a bizarre situation I was in.
It's weird, isn't it, how some of those people don't get very long in jail for stuff like that. I heard a story about, I think the guy was from Seaton Delaval. This is going back 20 odd years now.
Aye.
And I heard a story where he was he was in bed with his wife, and the baby was crying or something, and he was like, oh, he got up in the middle of the night. He's like, it's all right, I'll sort it. And he'd gone downstairs and killed the baby, and then gone back to bed. And I think he did 4 years or something. I was like, what?
The one the head's kicking in. Not by me, because I'm not violent anymore. Do you know what I mean?
You're not violent and you're not in jail anymore.
No. Like I say, I once I got medicated, my life changed totally 100%. I've done a 180.
So whilst we're still on the subject of you being road rage.
Or and that'll lead on to another story. You know, Sherlock.
Right.
Anyway, as people might know or may not know, I was a competitive bodybuilder. And I was a pretty big guy, like...
big, he was a fucking monster.
My neck was bigger than Mike Tyson's, and I'm only 5'7". You know what I mean? I sent you a picture, didn't I, of my neck? Massive. Anyway...
I've met Mike Tyson, I don't even think he's that tall.
I don't know, anyway.
I was amazed at how small Mike Tyson was when I met him.
You know why? Because he's so bloody big, you know what I mean?
Well, at the time, you know, like how he had that like sort of period where he wasn't training and whatnot.
Yeah.
He wasn't built like he was then, and he is again now. He wasn't built then either. So he just looks. Well, I was fat at the time, and I look twice his size.
You know what's stuck in my mind? Obviously, because I used to love training, and I used to see Mike Tyson rolling about on his head to make his neck thicker.
Aye.
So when he got hit, his neck could withstand the punches.
Like, enhance his chin kind of thing.
Aye. Anyway, what was I saying?
Road rage.
ADHD, everyone. That's what it does to you. Anyway, like I said, it was 1997, and you know that picture that I show you, the bodybuilding one?
Yeah.
Where I'm big.
I think it's in the last podcast, I think.
Yeah, it is,
Yeah.
aye. It was that time.
Right.
And I was full of steroids, and not only that, I've got bipolar disorder.
Undiagnosed as well it was at the time.
At the time, yeah. And I've got ADHD, which was undiagnosed at the time. But I've had that all my life.
But he was also Raj, which was diagnosed.
Aye, proper lunatic. Anyway, I was driving in Shields, right, North Shields, and I was driving down this bank, and I come to this roundabout, and I didn't indicate.
Right.
This big white taxi, right? He's beeping his horn, he's flashing his lights, he's pointing at us like that. Well, he went round the roundabout and went up where I'd just come back from. That was it. I wanted to kill him. I spun the car around, I chased him, right?
Yeah.
And at the top of the street, it was outside the Spring Gardens.
Right. Yeah, I know what that is.
The traffic light there.
Yeah.
So he stops there, right? I gets out the car, and I punched the window in. Don't do this at home. I punched the window in, right?
Right.
And I breathed the living shit out of him, right? But stupid me, moron, somebody got me my license plate, and I got done. And
I can only begin to imagine, right, fucking, especially at that point, the size you were.
Oh, I was big,
I can imagine, because I'm pretty raj. Well, I don't drive anymore now, but when I used to, I was pretty raj, and I'd give people the fingers and whatnot. And then I can just imagine the guy's fucking, like, the feeling in his chest when he turned and saw the size you get out of the car. But he thought,
he was proper arrogant and aggressive, like. And, I mean, I know I shouldn't have done it, like, but when you...
it happens.
When you're full of roids and that, and you're full of rage. And anyway, so I beat the living shit out of him. I went to court, and I was sitting in court, and don't forget, I'd not been in trouble at that point from being 16.
Right.
So that was on my side. But the clerk and the magistrate were saying, this is a road rage attack. It's, you see, they have to tell the people who are the magistrates and guide them.
Yeah, like a probationary report. Yeah. It's a report, isn't it, to do?
No, these magistrates, they work on behalf of the magistrates because they don't know. They're not specialists.
Right, okay.
So she's informing them that this case previously, the separate case, the person got 9 months in prison. And I'm sitting thinking, what? You know what I mean? But anyway, I got 2 years probation, and it's where you basically have to go and see someone every week for an hour.
I've done probation before.
Yeah, and that leads on to your next story. Mind of Sherlock.
So yeah, tell me about probation.
Well, like I say, at the time I was doing, I think I was doing my family tree.
Right. Which you did for a lot of years as well, didn't you?
Yeah. And what it is I seem to connect things dead easy, and like, I didn't even have to look for them. They were just there.
Yep.
And I used to tell me probation officer every week about the family tree and this and that and how I connected this and how I connected that. Obviously, I'm obsessive when I talk, you know, as you know. And after 6 weeks of this, he says, I think you've got this unique ability to connect things. I said, what do you mean? He says, I have a friend who's a psychiatrist or psychologist or something like that, that's been looking into this. It's like a pet project for him for years. He says, and it's rare to get someone who does this thing. And I says, well, it was about me, mate. He wanted to interview us for 3 hours and like do tests and this, that, and the other. I says, oh yeah, I'm having some of that, like. So anyway, I went to this test to see if I've got this ability.
Right.
And at the end, he says, yeah, you've got this ability to connect things that normal people don't have. He says, and one of the first people to get this was a bloke called Joseph Bell,
Right.
who was a forensic psychologist, forensic scientist back in the day, like years ago. And he says that this person, this Joseph Bell, was the inspiration behind Sherlock Holmes. That's who he's based on. And when you look at the old pictures of him, he's got the...
He's got a magnifying glass.
He's got the deer stalkers and all that. And, you know, he looks like Sherlock Holmes. So that freaked me out, that, like.
Let's go with a happy one, eh? Hypersexuality.
What it is hypersexuality, right? I never knew nothing about hypersexuality until I got diagnosed with bipolar disorder.
Right.
So all my life, right, I don't know how to put this nicely. I was a womanizer.
Right.
I just went like women. I went from one to the next. I've been married and divorced 4 times. Not that I'm proud of that, because I'm not. And after that, I've had three serious relationships, but one was for 17 years. That was after I was diagnosed and I was medicated.
Right.
That's how I lasted so long, 17 years. But before that, you name it, I had her. You know what I mean? I'm not, you know what I mean? But
He's like, I'm not proud of it. He's definitely proud of it.
No, there ain't many I ain't had, put it that way. No. It's not good though.
It's weird, isn't it? Because like lads can like, you know, say like, oh, I'm not proud of it, and like, you know, like laugh about it and that. But a lass would never admit that.
No, but you know, it is so seriously. When I was younger, I didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
I wanted to have every woman, you know, and I just went from one to the next to the next to the next to the next. I thought you would do that. One to the next to the next to the next. But as you get older, you realise, like, once I got diagnosed and this hypersexuality was brought under control, that's how I was able to have the 17-year relationship. Yeah. Because I didn't go looking for women.
Yeah.
I didn't go straying. I was like dedicated to me missus. And with Gail and Jackie, I was the same with them. You know what I mean? I didn't once cheat on them. Yeah? But before that, I cheated on them all, you know what I mean? But that like I said, when I said meds saved my life, they saved it in loads of different ways, you know, and that's just one of them.
See, that's not a great advert for the medication, because what you're basically saying there is if you take the medication, then you'll not be able to shag everything.
No, you can still shag everything, but I didn't feel the need. Yeah. Whereas before, I don't know if it was there to validate who I am. You know, oh, another notch in my belt. It's bizarre, like, because when I speak to, like, I mean, I don't broadcast it. I remember one lass says to another lass, have you been with Brian? She says, yeah, he was me first. And this other one says, yeah, he was my first. Do you know what I mean? But I wouldn't do that. Yeah. I wouldn't go broadcasting that because, like, I was a kid then, you know. I was 13 when I got diagnosed. No, it's not good. It's not a good look, you know. I would say that, you know. I
mean, it's all fun and games, I suppose, when you're young. But like you say, as you get older and whatnot,
no, you know what I feel bad about? It's like, you know, me wives.
Yeah.
I had 4 wives, and I cheated on them all, and they didn't deserve that. You know what I mean? Which was.
Well, I take my hat off to you because I've never been able to convince one woman to marry me, never mind 4.
Well, you know, I'm lovable, not. No. It's, I've had some unbelievably good-looking women, but you know what it is? Can I just make this point?
Yep.
I was thinking about it today, right? Actually, people, me included, when they see a woman, they're looking for looks, right?
Yep.
To me, that's just like a shop window.
Yep.
It gets you in the door. But if their personality shit,
Yeah.
goodbye Vienna.
I mean, the prettiest woman in the world can start to even, like, I find that, like, if you get to know somebody and they're a cunt, to me, when I look at them, they don't even look as pretty as they used to before I
You
knew
know
them.
why?
If that makes any sense.
It does. I was thinking that as well, right? I'm not
Or,
sure you.
or if you meet somebody in that average looking and they're a lovely person,
You
then
know-
6 months down the line, do you look at them, they look the same, but you think they're more attractive?
You know, these good-looking women who are horrible, really. As soon as they're horrible, their looks disappear.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm seduced by? Personality.
Yeah.
Obviously, they've got to, I've got to be attracted to them. But to me, I'm seduced by a great personality. You know?
Which with women is few and far between.
Get lost. You know what I mean?
I sound like a woman hater there. That's because I hate
You
women.
are. I'm not. I think women are brilliant. You know what it is? I love strong women. I do. A lot of blokes don't like them. All of my ex-misses, were all strong women.
Physically strong, some of them as well, weren't they?
Yeah. Miss Universe. When I was 16, obviously I was punk rock at the time, and me and my mates were up the town, one this pub called the Burton,
Right.
and we were mortal like, and we're walking up towards the a record shop called Listen Here,
Right.
and one of my mates must have had this lad was a big lad. He was a skinhead. He was huge.
Right.
And yeah, started having a fight with this bloke. And the bloke had me mate over the back of a car and he's punching him in the throat.
Right.
Well, you know what I mean? I wasn't having that like. So I had a dog choker. You remember them dog chokers like
Yeah.
a chain? I took it off, right, and I started braining the living shit out of his face, right? Not happy about it, not you know what I mean? That was back then, I was a kid of 16. But like when I go to town on something, I go to town on it, you know what I mean? And anyway, his face was like a hamburger, right? It went to court, it went to Crown Court.
Right.
And
That's never good.
No, I thought I was going to get borstal for 2 years, but I didn't, thank God. And I got sent to MADMILLER'S detention center. It was like a boot camp for bad boys type thing. You know, like the army style and all that shit.
Like kind of what you see the Americans still have now, that kind of boot camp.
Yeah. But there was lots of violence.
Right.
Because the then Home Secretary, Willie Whitelaw, said on stage in front of people, I want these places to be so bad that nobody ever wants to go back. So that was a green light for these screws to treat it like crap. So anyway, I went there in the taxi because it was only me.
Right.
So I went there and, you know, you try to be the big horde I am and all that crap. But I was only 16 at the time, you know. I always crap myself a bit like.
What was the ages of people there range?
Between 17 and 17 and 19.
Right.
So they're teenagers.
The worst age for people wanting to be hard as well.
It wasn't them.
It wasn't them.
The screws.
Right.
They're proper animals. So I'm in the car, right? I've been up all day. I was shattered. It was dark. I was falling asleep in the back and I had handcuffs on. And this screw called German.
Right.
That was his nickname. They've all got nicknames. Started digging his. I thought, Christ, I'm not even in the door and he's giving this shit. So anyway, I gets to the place and the fence is like mega high all the way around. There's lights. To me, it looked like a concentration camp, you know, in Germany. So anyway, I go through this little gate thing and you go across the walkway and then you go in this building.
Right.
When I went in the building, there was 2 or 3 screws there. And they went, what's your name? I says, Brian Miller. Then they start punching this.
Whack!
They start punching us in the face. They say sir after.
Did I heard about you then?
I'm me biggest fan.
Give him it!
Bastard.
Fucking hell.
Anyway, they start pushing us in the face saying, say sir after everything. So I realised what was going on. Like, they were setting up the lay of the land. You do as we do. Your life is not your own anymore.
Yeah.
You know. And when I was in there was I'll not go over all the violence, everything, but the schools were twats, right? But the worst one for me was Onslow. He was in charge of the gym.
Right.
Right? He attacked me with like a hockey stick.
Right.
Brained the shit out of us in front of everything, but he didn't hide it.
Any particular reason, no?
But what it was, right? We're playing hockey.
Right.
And he says, this is how he used to talk. The next person who lifts that thing too high is going to get it. And it was me. And he started braining the shit out of us, right?
Right.
Another time, right? Because I was laughing at me, like, you know how they make a human horse type thing? And you got to jump over it.
Yeah, yeah.
They done that, right? And I ran and I fell on them. And I started laughing me head up. He come over, he started kneeing us in the leg non-stop for ages. I couldn't do nothing. You got to stand there and take it. Anyway, loads of lads got beat up.
Right.
People who I personally know, and I'm not going to mention names, were raped. They had to take,
by screws.
Yeah. And they had to take the government to court, and they won. And they had to change the law. Anyway, it took us 40 years to get some kind of justice. That one, I tell you, who I hated the most. He got the most out of all of them. He only got 8 years. And Onslow, I hated him. If I saw him in the face, in the street, I'd punch him right in the face, really hard. Satisfaction.
Carry a hockey stick with you just in case you bump into him.
No, just knee him to death.
It's crazy that I've got a friend who was in some form of child homes when he was younger. I mean, he's 30 odd now. And 15 years later, there was a court case about some of the abuse that they experienced. And all of the people, this is what didn't make any sense to me. All of the carers all got not guilties, but they still give the kids that were like me mate and the other people that were in the home and that, they still give them massive payouts.
Can I just say something on
but they got not guilties now.
Yeah, I just say something on that level?
So they know it happened, they just couldn't prove it.
No, I'll give you a for instance, right?
Yeah.
Which is on the level of that, what you just said. Prince Andrew.
Right.
12 million to someone who we never met. You know what I mean? It's the same thing.
I would not meet him for 12 million. Do you know what I mean? I'd do for 10.
I'll touch me toes, touch me kidneys. No, you know what I mean, though. It's the same thing, isn't it? It's just bollocks.
Well, I mean, he paid money so that it wouldn't go to court, didn't he?
It doesn't make no difference to me. How is he still walking the street? You know what I said?
Because he's royalty, that's the only reason.
You know what I said, right? This is one thing I said. And I might be totally off the mark, like, and I might be pushed by emotion. But, you know, if a woman is getting beat the shit up of her husband, and obviously she doesn't want to take him to court, the cops can still take him to court on their own.
Yeah.
So is that not the same thing as this? She's dropped the charges. The law should be saying, don't care if you drop the charges. You know what I mean? We're taking you to court. That would be lush, like. Did you see the interview with him? Getting interviewed up Newsnight.
That was fucking. That was like a parody. Do you know what I mean?
Just like total moron.
Who thought? Oh, that's a good idea. Do you know what I mean?
Absolute lunatic. Absolute lunatic. Mind you, I don't want your viewers to think I'm some kind of psycho. You know what I mean? Even though that's what they call us at work, psycho. No.
You're not doing yourself any favours here.
No,
I don't even think of some form of psycho. Although everybody that knows us now calls us psycho.
No, you know, I work with a very small group of people, right? They understand me completely. They know I'm intense. They know I can be like overboard, but they know how I am.
Yeah.
And they're just terms of endearment, psycho or bipolar Brian or Mr. Angry, you know? It's just, but we get on great, you know?
So tell me about your first and your worst panic attack.
Nightmare! That was horrible, that, like. Anyway.
So set the scene. Where was it? When was it?
I'm not going to say where it was.
Right, okay.
Because it was at work, right?
Right, okay.
But,
well, okay, so at work. You don't have to say where you work, do you? Yeah.
Anyway, I was at work, right? Now, what you have to remember, I hadn't told anybody at work I had bipolar disorder.
Right.
Because there's this stigma. People think you're an idiot if you've got a mental illness, which is not true. I'm a genius. No, you know what I mean, though. So I never told anybody.
Right.
So anyway, the job I was doing at the time was very physical.
Right.
And my meds at the time were like tiring us out. And I thought, bollocks, I'm going to come off them. So I made the decision on my own to come off my meds. And I was off them for about 3 months. And I remember feeling really bad one night. And all of a sudden, right, I thought, I said to someone, if I die of a heart attack tonight, I'll know why. You know what I mean? Because I felt ill. So anyway, what happened was, I was on like a shop floor.
Right.
And I could feel myself going, like passing out.
Right.
And on the way down, in my mind, I thought, this is it. I am definitely 100% dead.
Fucking hell.
Honestly, it was that powerful. Now, I've been diagnosed with bipolar for about 10 years, but never had nothing like this. And when I have a panic attack, well, not now because I've learned to control them.
Yeah.
But when I had a panic attack in the beginning, I used to collapse.
Right.
So you could see you could see there was something wrong. But when I did, there was people around us, right, trying to help us, obviously. But because it was over my face and everything, I couldn't breathe. You know, do you know what I mean? So I was screaming and swearing at everybody.
Yeah.
Effing and blinding you, mother. You know what I mean? And I couldn't breathe.
So were you completely unconscious when you passed out at one point? And then did you come back around on the floor?
Yeah, just seconds though. Just seconds.
Just seconds.
But that's what used to happen to us. And I was screaming at everybody. The senior managers were there. I was telling them, get the effing ambulance. Do you know what I mean? It was a nightmare. Anyway. And that's when I let it all out. I've got bipolar. I haven't been taking my meds. So the ambulance bloke come, right? The paramedic, right? Nightmare. Yeah, he says, and I tell him what the crack was, right? And he says, I says, I'm dying. Oh, God, it was so bad. I can't breathe. I was panting like Christ. And he says, son, you're getting all the oxygen you need. Because he knew with me bipolar, it was a mental thing, right?
How long had you been off the meds when that happened?
3 months.
3 months.
Yeah. 3 months, yeah, it was. And they took us to hospital, right? Because I was going berserk. And when I went to the hospital, right, they put us in the room, right, on my own. And I was shouting my mouth out, right? Because they were taking ages. And the wife come in and says, look, if you don't calm down, I'm going to get the police. I says, get the police! Do you think I'm bothered? Do you know what I mean? You don't care. It was sheer. But like I say, over the course of time, I learned to control them just through breathing. I still get them. I still get the panic attacks, but it lasts about 15 minutes.
Is there anything in particular that brings them on, or do they just random? Just random as fuck?
I can feel it in my stomach. It's coming on.
Right.
It's like nerves in your stomach.
I don't think I've ever had a panic attack.
Oh, it's horrendous. It's the worst thing ever.
So I was saying to my friend, like, I think I might have had one, and I was telling him about something, and he was like, no, if you had one, you'd know.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, I must admit mine were extreme in the beginning, like, really extreme. I could see my bosses were getting annoyed with us because, like, I'd be working night and all of a sudden, killed hour, and they'd have to send us home because I couldn't deal with it. I didn't know how to, you know what I mean? But, like I say, over the course of time, breathing did it for me, like.
Right, so apparently something that I'm guilty of, pet hate, but I don't know what it is.
It's not you, it's me. It's not. You've seen.
It's not you.
You've seen that famous Friends thing.
Breaking up.
You've seen that famous Friends thing. It's not you, it's me. No, it is me. I know it's me. And I've been told of family members, I do the same to them. When I message somebody, I expect a reply.
Right.
You know, call me old-fashioned. You know what I mean? But when somebody doesn't reply, I get anxious. And then I send another message. Then I send another message. Then I send another message. I do it all the time with everybody. It's not just you, like. And it's just the way I am. I think it's ADHD, you know. What
I do on Facebook, which I need to sign out of it, actually. I've got Messenger open on my iMac all the time. And it's like that app one. It's not the one on the web browser.
Liar.
So if somebody sends us a message and it pops up, it will say seen. And I've not seen it.
No. Listen, it is a pet hate, but I know it's me. I can't even tell you about that. But like I say, I think it's me ADHD because I'm so impatient. I kind of, you know what I mean? It's like a family member, right? Their mate. I sent a message. Then I sent another message. Then I sent another. By the time it was like 20 messages. And the family member says, you need to get your act together. Do you know what I mean? But I know it's me, but it drives me mental. Drives us crazy. I know what you've started doing lately, which is good, because you know when you put the heart on something, that tells me it's an acknowledgement.
It's an acknowledgement.
That's all I want. You know what I mean? It's crazy. And I'll give you another for instance, right? I'm trying to think what it is. It's, oh, bollocks. I can't remember.
That's ADHD for you.
Yeah, yes, one of the greatest problems I've got. I've got ADHD, bipolar disorder. I suffer from insomnia. I may have autism or be on the autistic spectrum, but the worst thing I have to deal with every day, every minute of the day, is overthinking.
Right.
My brain just goes berserk all the time, especially when I'm messaging someone. I messaged a friend from work the other day, right? She was busy at work. I didn't know this. No reply. Then I start creating these scenarios up in my head of why they haven't replied. Totally like unreal. But it's my reality because it's in my mind. And I do this all the time. It drives us crazy.
I used to do that when I was on speed. And
I'm not on speed.
But apparently it wasn't, this might be connected actually. Apparently it wasn't the speed that was doing it. It was because I'd been awake for too long.
Yeah.
And that's when I overthink things, is like, it's not the speed, it's like when I've been awake for days. And for some reason, when most people's brains would slow down, mine seems to speed up.
No, mate, I've overthought all my life.
Have you?
Yeah, it drives us crazy. It drives us crazy. Even my family's here overthinking. You know what I mean? I can't help it. It drives me mental. It drives us crazy. But you know, I did me physics thing for 20 years. It was great for that because I was able to like take things to the next level and then the next level. But with this, like just everyday life, it's a nightmare.
Well, yeah, it'll be a gift and a curse, won't it? Because it'll gotten you from A to Z in thoughts a lot quicker than most people would ever get there. Some people would never get there.
Oh, it's a nightmare.
When it's a positive, but when it's something that,
it's like a double-edged sword, like you say. For me physics thing, fantastic, because I could think way beyond normal people. But for everyday life, it's a nightmare, total nightmare. So don't do this at kids, home kids.
I'm going to blank him for a week now and see what he comes, and then ring him and say, right, what did you think was happening?
Cut me wrists.
Here's one for you. What's the craziest thing that your brain's made up and you've believed, if that makes any sense?
You see, that's hard because I suffer from psychosis.
Yeah.
Which is like, and I've had it more than one occasion, more than the time. You know when I got sectioned the first time, 2001, I had a psychosis for a full 3 months, which is a mega long time to be psychotic. Now, anybody out there who does, who's had psychedelics, who's had magic mushrooms, LSD, anything like that, you will understand what it's like to be psychotic because it's very similar to that. But the people that don't, it's hard to explain. The only way I can explain, and I've mentioned this before to you, is psychosis is like, you know when you're in a dream and it's weird and there's something weird happens to you, but you don't notice it, you just go with the dream. It's not until you come out of the dream that you realise, friggin' hell, that was weird. You know what I mean? And that's what psychosis is like. You don't notice shit because you just go with it. Are you with this? So somebody could say something completely bizarre, but when you're psychotic, you'll just go with it as if it's normal.
When I've been in psychosis a couple of times, but just for maybe 24, 48 hours. Again, probably as a result from being awake for too long.
Oh, definitely,
And like I could hear, say for example, I walk past somebody on the street and they've said something to their mate. I've heard what they've said and then connected it to something else I was thinking about. I'd be like, oh, they fucking know such and such must have sent them to tell me that and stuff like that. And what I've never done is, though, I've never acted on it. It's all just been in my head. I've never gone up to the person and started talking to them about it. But then the next day I've thought, You completely made that up in your head. Like that was nothing at all to do with you.
I agree with you. I understand it because I have had moments like that where it's only been like a few days. But the 3-month period, can you imagine?
Yeah,
3 months solid.
Well, you would completely lose what reality is, wouldn't you?
Did you know it is? When I was walking down the street, I could see myself from 50 feet up walking.
Fucking hell.
That's the truth. I thought death moved like the wind when I was in Ward 21. Ward 21, the psychiatric place. I thought it moved like the wind. It's going to come and get me the night, so I better go in the other room. I really believed it, you know. It's bizarre, totally bizarre. But I was on medication for that for years, called risperidone and also Abilify.
Right.
They're two meds that combat
I've never heard of either of those.
Yeah,
so that's specifically for psychosis.
Yeah, specifically for psychosis. Risperidone and Abilify.
No.
It's mental. Just recently, I think it's within the year, one of my close friends from when I was a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
And she was a lush person, and she used to come to my house. You know, all the big bodybuilders, like Andy Hornby used to come. She used to come. We all used to get together in my house because it was quite a big house at the time, and we used to go like spend time together. And she was a lush person, and she won the you know, she was a physique type bodybuilder.
Right.
You know, like my first wife and my second wife was a figure.
Right.
But she was Miss Universe. Rabina, she was called Rabina Harvey. She was the muscly type.
Right.
And she won Miss Europe, and she was amazing. But she was a great friend as well. I think she changed her name. Well, she didn't change her name. She got married.
Right.
I think it was called Catchpole or something like that. And she was on me messenger and that, and I used to send her messages and that. And I found magazines with her on them.
Yeah.
Like the front cover of a magazine, I would send it.
You'll have to send me one, I'll put it in this.
She's lovely lass, like. And I was totally shocked because I was talking to her not long before she died.
How did she pass away, do you know?
I'm not sure, but she was fit as anything.
Yeah.
I mean, she was a bit older than me. A couple of years older than me, so I'm 59, so she would have been I think she was 65, to be honest. And she looked amazing. She had a proper fit body on her, absolutely out of this world. So I don't know it might be a heart thing. I don't know. I really don't know. I'm just guessing. But I just wanted to mention that on because she was such an important person in my life at one time.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, aye.
So, is there anything else you want to add or talk about today?
Yeah.
How then?
How great I am. No. Check the links in the description below, because I'm sure I'll put stuff in there. And it's been lush talking to you.
Right. Now we'll have to do this again soon. Thank you very much, mate.
There you go, mate. Excellent.